Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. We have a domestic terror situation unfolding in Southern California. All throughout this hour, The Factor will report on the situation, which is changing by the minute. At 8 Eastern Time, here is what we know in stone. At about 11 Pacific Time this morning, the Environmental Health Services office of San Bernardino County was invaded by gunmen. According to eyewitness Denise Peraza, who was shot in the back and wounded, two men with large caliber weapons opened fire on a group of people, and they shot for 30 seconds straight, reloaded, and fired again. At this point, 14 innocent folks are dead, 17 others wounded. Police shot one of the perpetrators hours later as somebody fled in an SUV. We still don't know how many people were in there. We should get updated information momentarily. Now, a hunt is on for at least one other suspect, but again, we don't know much about that. The dramatic events were broadcast live to the nation on cable TV outlets as, once again, America is shaken by senseless violence. We are awaiting a press conference from San Bernardino County, and when that begins, we'll go to it. But first, Adam Housley has been covering the story all day and has an eyewitness with him, I understand. Adam, set it up for us, please.
Yeah, I'm going to set it up first, and the eyewitness is going to come over here in a second. Right now, I can tell you this is basically where, not far from here, is where the barricade is being taken place. The search is taking place. Right behind me, though, as I step away, that's where the shootout was. So for those who maybe didn't follow this or are just getting what happened here, the shootout came here about 2.5 hours ago or so. The black SUV was coming down the street, heading towards a street called Richardson. At that point, a back window was shot out of the SUV. We don't know if that was coming from the inside or from the police officers that were in the chase. It was a slow-speed chase, really, as Southern California goes, 35, 40 miles an hour only. And then the police officers returned fire. It continued on to where the stoplight is. You can see as the night falls here, it's starting to get dark. At that, just past that stoplight is where it came to an end, where two suspects were shot and killed. We do know that basically the area all within the police tape where we're located, about a mile square, Bill, is completely shut down. They've been evacuating people out basically for the last 2.5 hours that we've been here. We do know people that are inside that are barricaded in rooms. One woman we spoke to earlier is in her closet. She's still there with her dogs. I spoke to her on the phone, and that is the situation. The helicopters continue to circle as well. So, Bill, as you can tell, it's very fluid out here. You know these situations. That's the situation we're in. Okay,
this is exactly what happened in the Boston Marathon case when they were chasing the Sarnab brothers, and we had to be live, and things happened. Now, you just said that two suspects were shot by police. We're getting conflicting reports on that. Are you positive it was two shot in the SUV?
We're not positive, Bill. And that's, as you know, again, very fluid. In fact, David's coming over right now. The witness. I'm going to have him tell you what he saw, because what's amazing about this, Bill, is you have a situation 1.5 miles from here where the actual murders took place. Literally, if I was to drive straight through this camera 1.5 miles, you're going to happen. That's where the initial 14 people were killed, and then the shootout happened here. David, come on in. David was in this building right here, Bill, and so these guys were on lockdown. They were actually shutting the factory down, and then the whole town of San Bernardino was shut down. We're talking a pretty big city here, and people were going home, and at the same time, a lot of the streets were empty as more units come out right now. There's an unmarked coming out. David, explain to Bill, what did you see? I mean, you were outside, and all of a sudden, you heard the gunfire.
Yeah, we just heard the gunfire. A black SUV driving fast by in front of us. The windows were breaking from the back. I don't know if the suspect were shooting it back at the cops shooting back at them, but we just heard shots, and we just took cover. In back of the back of a car that was in front of us, and then when they passed us, maybe about 30, 40 feet after they passed us, more shots rang out, and that's when we really took cover good. But when they passed us, that's when I saw the suspects.
Right.
Yeah.
You said you saw them. They had scruffy faces.
Scruffy faces, short black hair. And they were looking back. I did not see if they were pointing at something at the cops, but most likely they were, because unless they were getting shot at.
And they were, all throughout the day we heard. I know you probably heard it here because you guys were listening and watching television as well. That they were wearing black, and that they were looking for 3 men wearing all black, and that's what you saw.
Yes, that's what I saw. I saw them. They have like a black shirts on, or black sweaters on, or something black.
So there's some conflicting reports whether or not, and we're waiting for a press conference that hopefully will tell us whether 2 were killed there or not. How many did you see inside that SUV?
I saw 2. I don't know if there was a third one in the back. I don't know, but I only saw 2 in the front.
Okay.
I saw 2 in the front.
2 in the front. I want you to give me an idea, too. As you see all this police activity, you saw the shootout right in front of you, only a few feet away. What's that got to feel like?
It's like something surreal that is not happening. It's you see this in movies, or you see this other places where it's happening in the world, or in our own country here, and now it's happening here in front of me or in front of us here, and it's unbelievable.
Right. So, Bill, as you can tell, we're hoping that press conference will help clear some of the things up when you ask officers here.
I got a couple of questions for David. I got a couple of questions for David.
Go ahead.
All right. First of all, did you see any bodies being removed or any people being removed from the SUV after the shootout? Did they the police take away anybody from the car?
You were down there for a while. Did you see had any bodies been pulled out of that SUV before you guys were moved back?
Oh, no. The first shootings happened here. The main shooting
100 yards further?
At least no, I didn't get to see any of that, no.
Okay. Yeah, the main shooting, so the first, Bill, there was actually 3 spots. Just about a couple hundred, maybe 100 yards from where am I at, that's where the first window was shot out. Then right in front of David is where the second main shootout happened. And then about 100 yards past David, 150 yards past David is where it ended. So,
that's right.
So you were kind of right in the middle of the 3 locations. Okay. You have another question, Bill?
No, just thank you, David. We appreciate that. I got a couple of questions for you, Adam.
No problem. Sure.
Now, the law enforcement at this point has to know who these guys are. They've had them in custody, I think, for about 2 hours now. Would that be accurate? 2 hours?
Yeah, roughly 2 hours.
All right. So if they're not both dead, and even if they are dead, they probably know who they are. Law enforcement is not really talking to you or any other reporters. All the information is funneling through these press conferences, correct?
Correct. I mean, they've given us little bits and pieces, and I'll give you an example. Before this, when we first heard about this chase, we were over in a different location than a couple of our other correspondents, basically on some railroad tracks, Bill, that was directly across from where the shooting took place. We were there by ourselves, actually, us and a still photographer. When we were there, I had someone tell me, hey, you know, we're looking for 3 guys. We have to go with the idea we're looking for 3 men with tactical gear, and they said AK-47s. That's what one of the law enforcement guys said. That's what we're looking for.
Right.
Now, if they officially wouldn't say that, so then as I'm there, I get tipped off in a text, hey, we're in chase, a black SUV. And so right away, within a second of me getting that text, where we were, which was basically the main center of where the FBI was, the bomb squad, all those teams were right where we were by those railroad tracks. They took off. I mean, it was like unit, go. The tactical teams took off. We jumped in the SUV. We drove here. So it's given us a little bit of information, but yeah, a lot of the main stuff, like, you know, are there 2 bodies in an SUV that have been pulled out? I mean, stuff like that. Are there just 3 suspects? They're not narrowing that down for us. We're getting little bits and pieces, basically.
Now, right now, is there a dragnet by you? Are there police helicopters all over the place? And are there house-to-house searches going on right at this moment?
Absolutely. The house-to-house searches you cannot no longer see because we got moved back. There's only one helicopter, though, and you're not going to see it at night, unfortunately. The news helicopters, which you get some of the video from the air, they've been moved back and up to get out of the way. And, of course, at times they're told not to show certain scenes, especially if it's a tactical situation. And they listen, of course, and follow law enforcement in that situation. So there is one helicopter up we know that is law enforcement related. And there are, yes, house-to-house searches going on. And we do know, Bill, I talked to one woman earlier on the phone before her phone went dead. She's been in the closet now for 2 hours since she heard the initial gunfire with her dogs, and she's been told to hunker down.
As an experienced reporter, you know and I know that if there was a dragnet going on, there'd be more than one police helicopter in the air, and the lights would be on, the spotlights would be on, and there'd be much more intensity, even where you are right now. There'd be sirens going in and out, because that's the way that these things are conducted. It tells me that I think the police know what the disposition of the case is going to be. That's speculation. I don't like to do it, but it's educated speculation. You just don't have one chopper on a crime of this magnitude. You've got 5, because it's L.A. County, it's San Bernardino County, it's FBI, it's a whole bunch. It's a joint force trying to get these guys under control, correct?
Yeah, it's a massive force here. I mean, I would agree with what you're saying about the dragnet situation. The only caveat I might bring in, Bill, is obviously in a situation like this, if there are only 3 main suspects, if 2 of them are dead behind me, again, we're somewhat speculation here, and there is one barricaded, as a whole other line of cop cars will be coming in here in a second. You'll see over my shoulder. If that is the case, there are just 3 suspects, you know they're going to be looking at possible other connections here. Where they get the weapons from? Are there other people maybe not as involved, obviously not as involved as active shooters? So you do have that dragnet taking place as well. well. And in this situation, I think what they're trying to do is to ensure that they have if there were 3, if they have those 3 completely either surrounded in one house and dead, or if they're missing somebody. You know, there's been a lot of different calls coming in, as you know, Bill, in these situations. I've heard them on the scanner myself today of so-and-so running this way, so-and-so running that way, and they have to really respond to those too.
What are the warnings to the people in the community? That will tip you off as well as to the intensity of right now. What are the warnings? Are they saying you can't go out of your house now? You can't drive on the street now? What are they saying?
Well, San Bernardino is a big area. I will say the streets that I've seen are not as crowded as they normally are this time of night. A lot of people staying in, watching what's happening, staying out of the fray. I will say this, beyond this police tape, and this basically quadrant of an area, I'll probably say a mile square. It's a massive area they've now moved back to, with the shootout being right there and the search basically being right over there. That whole area, people have been told to stay in place. They've been told to stay down and stay in place, like that woman who was in the closet. Right. The sheriff has said, stay in place, we'll come to your door, we'll tell you when it's safe.
Through the local news, the authorities have said in this area where you are, don't go outside. They have issued an order not to go outside. Is that correct?
Exactly.
Okay.
And also, the reason why this press conference is late too, Bill, I was told by a federal source that I'm close with, is that this obviously changed. They wanted to have the 8 o'clock Eastern press conference. This whole situation and the ongoing situation that apparently is taking place with the barricade, if that again is still ongoing, that is what's pushing them back a bit, because this is very fluid, as you know, Bill.
Okay, so they're trying to compile the new information to bring it to the nation.